Hello, everyone. Welcome back to AEC Today Reports. Happy Thursday. I'm your host, Latasha Hewitt, and I hope you've had a great week so far. If not, we hope it's going to turn around just after watching this program. We're so excited about everything we have coming up. You know, we love talking to our guests. And we're going to conclude our money management segment with Mr. Andrew Fagon, who's done an awesome job of giving us tips on tax preparation and all the things we should consider. We're also going to have a ministry moment where we're talking to one of our very own pastors about what they're doing to reach out to their community. We don't have our Ask the Pastor segment this week, but that will pick up next week, and we're looking forward to that. But we're going to end with some fitness with Faye, giving us some tips on how to maintain a healthy lifestyle. We missed you last week, but we hope you checked out our communication conference. If not, visit our website, visit aec.org/CamCon, CAMCON, to check out what we were up to last week. All right, enough talk. Let's jump right into our program.
Right here, baby. Look. Uma.
Noah. Something more than a birthday is happening here. Once you can see it, you can help. The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.
All right, everyone, welcome back to AC Today Reports. We're so happy that you tune in for another week of awesome information. And this is a segment that we hope you're finding very helpful. I know I have personally, and that's our money management segment. And we have as our special guest, or we have had for the last few weeks, Andrew W. Fagon. He's a CPA, and he's joining us again today. Welcome, Andrew. Thanks for coming back.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. It's been great.
Yes, you have definitely given us a thorough overview of a lot of things that we need to consider as it relates to taxes. And, you know, today, as this is our final section of the series.
4 weeks already. Wow.
I know, flew by, right?
It sure did.
You know, at this point, it's May, and a lot of people have already filed their taxes or are thinking about things a little differently from the information they've received since. But one of the things I've always had this question, because you see the option to file an extension. So we know that the date, you know, typically it was April the 15th, and then there were some other changes, some new deadlines. But at what point, just share with us, when should someone file an extension, and what are the cases where that may be necessary?
Sure. Great question. I would say one of the markers for filing an extension oftentimes, and this is when perhaps a professional, bringing in a professional into the picture can help you, is sometimes there are deductions and credits that are available that you can't necessarily figure out that quickly. Okay. And once you commit and file that tax return, you've lost the opportunity to make those elections, right? So the extra time that you need to kind of either figure it out yourself or work with a professional to figure it out might be worth it to file an extension, right? Mm-hmm. So that's one, right? I'm going to say also, one thing you want to do when you file a tax return, you want it to be accurate and you want it to be truthful. Okay. Now, there are materiality thresholds, and I'm sure IRS auditors use to determine whether they want to audit somebody or not. But you don't want to leave it up to an IRS filer to make a determination on auditing your tax return because something looks out of whack, or just not typical for you as a filer, or perhaps it's deviated significantly from your previous filing. So improving on the accuracy of your return is really one of the reasons why I think individuals should take the additional time, and that would be 6 months from April 15, typically, to file. There I go with the arms again. I apologize.
It's okay. It happens to the best of us.
To file
an extension.
To file a return.
So
to
it
file an
gives you 6
extension.
more months. That's what you're saying. So once you file an extension, you're
Yes,
given additional.
am I calculating that correctly? So May, June, July, August, September, October. Yes. In your typical year where your tax return is due on the April the 15th, you can get an automatic extension of time to file, which would then cause your tax return to be due October 15th of that same year.
Okay.
Another reason why you might want choose to file an extension would be to reduce your tax preparation fees or your bill from a professional preparer. So if you don't want your preparer to turn into your bookkeeper, you might want to take the additional time, I should say, to prepare your documents, ideally a nice clean spreadsheet with all of your information, particularly if you're a small business owner or sole proprietor. Don't bring that shoebox to your tax preparer because you're going to pay for it.
Go ahead and put it out there.
Right. And that's really a plug, not for the tax preparer, but for that diligent person that wants to not only ease the burden of the tax preparer, but also to learn a little bit. And so putting that energy and effort into making sure you're prepared to spend that time with that tax preparer or to do the taxes yourself. You don't want to be scrambling. Right. The additional time might be helpful for that. Let's think about filing an extension, though. This year, extensions are due by May the 17th because we got an additional month or so to file our taxes. But you can file an extension, but it does not give you an extension to pay the taxes. The taxes are due on May the 17th, and that's the key. You will be imposed a late payment penalty if you file late and owe. If you file late and you don't owe, you will not be penalized. Usually. I don't see why the IRS would charge you for, them holding on to your money for a little bit longer. It just doesn't seem to make sense.
Yeah.
But if you owe, you need to pay up. Otherwise, you're going to hit with underpayment penalty, late payment filing fees, and interest on a monthly basis.
So let me ask you this though, Andrew. If you haven't filed or if you need that more time to get your stuff together, how do you know how much you owe? Like how do you pay something that you haven't determined yet?
That's another reason why you want to use a tax professional.
Okay.
You gotta go through the estimate.
Okay.
Generally speaking, you're going to have, I'm hoping that you're going to have, you have a significant amount of time already between January 31, which is typically the time when companies are required to have issued you your W-2. Some brokerage firms have until the 31st of March. You have a fair amount of time to gather your information. So you're going to have an idea of what your taxes look like. You also have, if you're working with a tax professional, they should have comparisons. Okay. And you can run it through an estimator and get a good idea of what you owe. Remember, it's a pay-as-you-go system. So those that are charged, one, you're not going to be charged a late filing fee if you file and you owe and you haven't paid all of it, right? Okay. So you do away with that fee. If you pay as much as you possibly can or close to the amount that you owe, you're not going to be hit with what's called an underpayment fee. So the idea is to do a good estimate, use your prior returns. You know how much you've earned more than you earned last year. And certainly a tax professional can help you with that. But you're going to do your best to estimate what that payment should be. And you're going to make that payment or do your best to make that payment to avoid that underpayment fee or that failure to pay on time fee.
Okay. Great information on that. I always wondered about those extensions, but also another scenario that has come up. I've had instances where I've filed our taxes, they're gone, either we owe, we pay, and then I get some random information, whether it's from an organization or a company saying, oh, we just realized we never sent this to you. And it's something that could impact our taxes.
Sure.
Is that the instance where we need to file a correction, or what are some of the scenarios where filing a correction is necessary, or amendment?
And when by way of a correction, you mean filing an amended return?
Amended, yeah.
So yes, filing an amended return can come up for a myriad of reasons. I mean, I think it was our second session, we discussed the unemployment insurance payments and the fact that the Biden administration just signed into law the stimulus bill that was just signed,
right,
allowed for some of those payments to not be taxed, which could then trigger somebody being eligible for the earned income credit. Well, clearly, and if you didn't file a tax return or you didn't claim the credit when you filed the tax return, that's an instance where you would want to file an amended return. It really doesn't matter, and we could come up with a number of situations where an amended return is appropriate. I will say this: certainly, you find that you missed a deduction. Okay, you got a charitable donation statement that puts you over the threshold when you compare itemizing to standard. File an amended return. You got the daycare statement late and you just forgot about it,
right,
and you filed the return. You hit the button by accident.
Yeah.
You know, you hit the button, you're there, it's late at night, you're doing it yourself, and you hit that button by accident. Oh my goodness, I forgot to do X. You want to file an amended return. So it could be a number of things. There's nothing wrong with filing an amended return. It's a little bit of work. You're going to have to put in an appropriate explanation, and generally it cannot be electronically filed and takes a significant amount of time to turn it around.
Okay.
But nonetheless, it's appropriate. And you can file an amended return 3 years back. Okay. You can file an amended return 3 years back to the date of the original due date of the return. Beyond that,
3 years.
The IRS cannot accept amended returns and therefore cannot apply credits or reduce liabilities or increase refunds. So people need to be aware. If you get that document in the mail and you throw it off to the side because you said, I already filed my return, you probably should take a look at it and determine whether it's applicable to file an amended return. And if it is, file the amended return before that the statute of limitations kicks in and passes.
Okay, good. Important to know. All right. So, as I alluded to earlier, we've been learning a lot. And I think even in my own mind, I'm trying to figure out how I can better organize myself to maximize my tax filing experience for next year. Do you have any tips for those of us who don't want to wait until the last minute to start getting documentation, or even, there's certain deductions you can get from your paycheck that you might not be doing? What are some of the things that you recommend we do now as we look forward to the 2021? I'm sorry, 2022. I keep forgetting we're in 2021 already.
Sure. That's an interesting one, because my philosophy is it really isn't about just your taxes. It's just about your overall finances, your overall budgeting process. So in my mind, this is now moving, but some might say this is just tax planning for next year. In my mind, tax planning is looking at that overall picture.
Okay.
And that overall picture isn't just about your W-2. It's about, saving call it 529 plans, right? It's about whether you're maximizing your contribution to your 401k or your 403b or your individual retirement account, whether it's Roth or any other type of retirement contribution that you might want to think about. It might be about the timing of a particular contribution, right? I hate to say this, but well, it's not a matter of hating to say it. It might be the timing of a particular contribution. You might know that you're getting a bonus next year, so you might wait on a particular contribution to get a larger donation within a particular year to get you over the hump relative to the standard deduction. So it's that type of an analysis. You might, if I can go back a little bit, make sure you get a copy of your tax return. Okay, make sure you print it off from that online program. If you do it by hand, God forbid that's the case, but if you do it by hand, make sure you have a copy. Make sure you have all the documentation to support every number on that tax return, or access to the documentation to support every number on that tax return, and keep that in a file. Look at whether you got a refund back. Look at whether you were required to pay the IRS back, whether it's the federal or whether the state. And that can help you determine where you go from there. Just don't, if you owe $2,000, $3,000, whatever the case may be, you want to look why. And that analysis will then cause you to determine, well, maybe if I contribute a little bit more here to my 403b, my 401k, I reduce my taxable income, that might be help. So instead of putting it into the hands of the government, I'm putting it into a deferred plan that benefits me later on. My child just turned 13 during the year, so child care expenses no longer apply to that child because they cut off at the age of 13. My child just turned 24, graduated from college, 22, graduated from college. I might not be able to claim them as a dependent anymore. So it's taking a step back and looking at your overall financial picture and all aspects of that financial picture that might impact the end game. And then there are a couple things to think about when we think about the extension. If we can go back to that a little bit, there's certain things that don't impact your extension. I'm going to throw one that's a little bit of a sore point here. Never mind what I just said about the extension. I want to focus on this instead. If you're in December and you're going through a divorce, okay, you might want to have a conversation with the person as to how it's going to impact your taxes. You might want to get rid of them before December 31, but it could have an adverse impact on your taxes. So try and make the conversations as amicable as possible so you can both benefit. Long and short of it, look at your overall situation by first analyzing where you landed, and that largely will tell you where you need to go. Then tie that into an overall budget analysis, and then tie that into an overall financial picture, your family's financial picture. And from there, and perhaps with the help of a financial planner or your tax planner or just somebody that you're confident that can help you, look at where you need to go from a tax perspective, and then keep good documentation, especially for those that are running home offices. Like I said in the other segment, that's a hot topic when it comes to audits, because generally speaking, home offices don't meet the criteria set by the IRS.
Okay. I like what I hear you saying. I mean, even though we're talking about taxes right now, taxes is just a small part of your bigger financial picture. The segment is called money management. So how you manage every other aspect of your finances is going to impact what your taxes will do. And the same thing with your taxes impacting your big picture as well. So it's about making choices, wise choices. And I like what you said about evaluating. Don't just say, oh man, I owed this year and pay it and then you're done. Like you said, look at why you owe. See what you can adjust so maybe you don't owe the next time, whether it's taking, like you said, contributing more to your IRA, or, reducing this expense, or, my thing has always been, and I don't know how tax preparers feel or CPAs feel about this, but, don't give the government a penny more than what you need to. And so there are different things that you can do if you do your research, that you can do to kind of, I don't want to say circumvent, but kind of
Sure.
make it a little bit more beneficial to your family financially as it relates to tax.
Yeah. And the fun part is not the taxes. The fun part is working with somebody to analyze their financial situation and then put a plan into place
Right.
and then let that plan work and then do an evaluation 2 years from out, two years out. And if people have disciplined themselves and committed themselves to this plan, they're going to see results. They're going to see debt come down. They're going to see savings go up. They're going to see college funds funded. They're going to see things about the tax code that they did not know, things to take advantage of. There's nothing wrong with taking advantage of credits, deductions, things that are actually in the tax code. It's not like, ooh, don't touch, not at all.
Right.
Learn it, understand it, and use it to your advantage to better your family, to grow your wealth, to fund that charitable organization that you so love, to give more to your church, to really lift yourself up out of whatever financial position you're in. That's really what it's all about. As I said in the first segment, taxes, it's really the end game. What I'm in love with is helping people to understand that you can't do anything about the past, but you absolutely can do stuff about the future, regardless of where you are from a financial standpoint. And we talked about taxes, not necessarily the code, not necessarily being the best friend of people that look like me and you, and it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why we need to learn and understand it, right? You don't have to learn and understand all the details about the person that is your best friend, that has treated you well, but if you're going to go fight a war, you're going to study, how to defeat your opponent. And I hate to put it in those terms, but understanding what the code is all about, how it impacts you, shouldn't be something that people should be forcing you to do. It should be something that you're looking forward to do, because ultimately it's going to help you to better prepare financially for your family. And then to check people like me, that says that they know what they're doing on what they're actually doing.
That's
Nothing wrong with that.
And that's good to say that, because sometimes we get intimidated by numbers and this form C and schedule C and 1090. A lot of people like, oh, there's just too many numbers and letters here. I can't process it. But there is something to be said for taking the time out to educate yourself, at least cursory. If you don't want to get into those fine details, that's not you. Okay, we understand it. Give it to a trusted professional. But in general, you should have some knowledge of what's happening with your money. If somebody just says, "Oh, well, you owe $5,000. Sorry," you need to make sure that that's accurate, or that's a large number to just hand over without knowing why. And so,
you don't take those chances with your health, Latasha. So, why would you take those chances with your financial health and well-being? As a matter of fact, the financial wealth and financial well-being can impact your overall health if not managed appropriately. So I'm not telling everybody to, some people just don't like this stuff. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But whoever you're paying to do it, perhaps, you should have a fair understanding of what they're doing.
Right.
Don't take anything blindly. Understand. Do a little bit of reading. Do a little bit of research. Ask questions, even if you're not going to do the research. Ask, why did I owe this year? What can I do to is it good to get back $10,000?
Right.
Do I have to do this? I want to start a business. Ask those questions, and it keeps those of us in the profession sharp. Sometimes we have to do some research, but it's just good conversation to have, especially in our circles, in our worlds, people that look like us. I keep harping on that.
No, it's so important. That's why we're doing this series. I mean, because that's the reality.
In my mind, it's very, very important. It's paramount.
Okay, awesome. So we just want to express our appreciation for all that you have shared with us over these last few weeks. And we want to remind our viewing audience that if you'd like to reach out to Andrew, Here is his email address, awfagan@gmail.com. Like we said, he was able to give us these nuggets, but if you really want to reach out to him personally for yourself or your business, here's his information to follow up with him offline, as we say. But we have definitely benefited so much from all the information that you shared. And we just thank you for taking the time to help educate our audience, our community with so much valuable information. We're grateful.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was really great conversations.
Awesome. All right. Take care. And thank you for empowering us financially. I feel empowered after our conversations.
I'm glad. That was the goal. Thank you again.
All right. We'll see you next time.
All right. Take care.
All right, everyone. We'll be right back after this break. We understand that during this time, as much as we want to provide hope and encouragement for all of you, some of you are experiencing loss, or you have individuals who have been impacted by this virus and are currently in pain or discomfort. We want to pray for those individuals. So we ask that you go to our website, hit the prayer tab, and give us the opportunity to pray for and with you. We believe that God is still in the healing business and He will work miracles on your behalf. So please let us pray with you. All right, everyone, welcome back to AEC Today Reports. We are moving right along with our Ministry Moments segment, and we're happy today to have with us Pastor Novella Smith. She has some wonderful things that she's doing in Metro, and we want to talk about it with her today. So we're going to go ahead and invite her to join us. How you doing, Pastor Smith?
I am awesome. Thank you so much for having me here today. And hello to everybody else in the AEC cyberspace world.
That's right. Thank you. We love the energy. We love it.
Awesome.
So how are you? I mean, it's been over a year. I mean, even last year was ordination, all of that exciting stuff happening during our camp meeting. Yes. But how have you been in the last few months? How's life shaping up?
Past few months have been awesome, especially now that the weather is turning in my favor. Summertime, springtime is my time. So it's going well. I was out all weekend safely, of course, with my good friend, The Mask. And The Mask and I enjoyed the weekend.
Awesome. Great. Glad to hear it. So as I mentioned, at Metro, and we're talking about Metro in Maryland, Hyattsville is considered, right? You guys have just been busy bees. Even during this pandemic, you weren't going to let, not worshiping in the church house keep you all from being the church and going out into the community. And I know you guys have been doing a lot, but most recently, I came across the youth kind of being engaged in this drive-by outreach. So tell me, what was the inspiration behind that, and how have the youth kind of been, taking to this new venture?
Absolutely. So the inspiration behind it was basically something I always say, which is do what the season requires. And the season requires that we figure out how to keep going and do it differently. And the beauty about this season is the things that we would not have had the energy to do prior to the pandemic, we have the energy now because we're actually less tired. We have more energy and time and space to do things. So God is showing us how to restructure life to keep going. And so, of course, we've done drive-by graduations. We've done drive-by funerals at Metro, believe it or not. We have done drive-by everything. And so friends of mine in Virginia, the Lucums, Elders Lucum, out there, they have been doing this drive-by outreach thing. And I looked at it and I said, hold on, this thing is genius. And so I called up Mrs. Lucum and I said, can you talk to me about what you all do? She did that. And so I got some understanding about how to organize it. And then at Metro, we just ran with it. And the young people and their families have been out there. The first week, we visited about 4 homes. And the families were so inspired that one of them said, I want to donate to the ministry.
Wow.
Another one had, the same lady invited neighbors out. And that's how it becomes outreach, because we're visiting members, but the members are inviting neighbors. Or because we have a, megaphone, people are hearing, what is this thing going on? Another family, they were so touched that we visited them. The next week that we did it, their car pulls up to join the caravan because they were so touched. And he brought his guitar. And they joined the ministry. So there's like 15 of us, 15 cars driving down the road with more than 2 people in a car.
Right.
Looking like a funeral, but we're not celebrating the life of a person. We're celebrating the life we have right now.
I love that.
That's how it started. And the youth that are there, they sing, they pray. Everybody brings gifts for each household. And the text messages that we get afterwards from those families about how they held back tears and how it means so much to them really is impactful for those members, but now also for their neighbors that we are now asking that they invite at least one neighbor to join them.
That is awesome. I love that. I love that approach. And I love the fact that it becomes contagious. So those who are blessed kind of want to pay it forward because of the joy they experience. So, okay, so you guys do the singing. And so how long do you spend at each house that you visit?
It all depends on the vibes and how it's going. Some families, it could be about 7 minutes. One family, I think it was about 15 because the person's friends were so excited to see them and it turned into like a whole hangout chat. So anywhere between like 7 to 15 minutes. If we have like the last time we had 5 houses, so I tried to hurry us along. But when we got to the last house, we may have spent about 20 minutes because one of the young men in their family of about 6, he has childhood cancer. And he just had a birthday. So apart from singing happy birthday, one of our young kids that is a part of the outreach, Gabby, she's our little singer for many of the things we do. Whether it's my birthday, her birthday, she's always singing Waymaker. So she starts singing Waymaker. Then we have the Exums and the Levies, and they're big singers. So they come and they sing. And so it really just depends on the family, the need, and the circumstance as to how long we stay. But that particular family, it turned into a really awesome worship session and encouragement because it was the young man's birthday and we were just there to bless the family. So about 20 minutes there, but typically 7 to 15.
I love that. So how do you break up the list? Like, we're going to visit these 4, these 5. You just taking the church membership, or are you visiting other people? Can people request that you visit their neighbor or family? How does it work?
Absolutely. So we're interested in visiting anybody whose name we get.
Okay.
What I've done is I asked the youth leaders to send me names of people. And so for the first visit we did, I thought of a young lady and I thought of her family. And so from that, I picked people within her area, and that specific area had many church members. And so that's how that worked out. Once you pick the one person, you see who lives in that area, and then you just make the caravan for that area. And of course, invite your neighbor because that makes it the big impactful outreach part.
I love that. I want to share the flyer. You guys are doing this particular outreach every second and fourth Sabbath.
Right.
And so to be a part of it, you do want people to, of course, sign up so you know who's coming and kind of give them directions. So if you're in that area, now you don't have to be a member of Metro to participate, right?
Absolutely not. We have people who are a part of the outreach. Like I said, the Exums and the Levies, they're not a member at our church, but they are on that list and they come out and they're a main part of it as well. Other people from churches as well have said, hey, we want to join, and they've come out as well. It doesn't matter. I mean, you don't even have to go to church. If you just say, hey, you want to be a part of outreach and hanging out and blessing people, we're in it. Like, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, because you're helping others, you're getting fellowship, you're being uplifted personally and giving back at the same time. It does seem like kind of the perfect activity to be a part of. Now, what are some other things? I know, this is just one of the many pieces of outreach and community-based projects you guys have done. What are some of the other projects your, I don't want to say department, but your church and particularly youth ministry has been part of?
Sure. So the youth ministry cares about outreach a lot, and there's many kinds of outreaches that one can do. And so we have our public schools, both in walking distance from our church. Some of our students go to those public schools. And we love the connection that we've had for, over 10 years with them. And so during this pandemic, we've been able to connect with them continually. School supplies. We're always handing school supplies to schools. Just coming up this week, we're going to bring over donuts for the teachers because that particular county, they have students already in the building about 4 days a week. Monday, Tuesday is the first half of the alphabet. They clean Wednesday, then Thursday, Friday is the other half of the alphabet. So we wanted to drop off donuts or a meal to them that this week. Then the young people, I don't want to put all their ideas out there yet, but the young people and I just had a conversation on Friday about some very specific plans that they have.
Okay.
And so they're gonna. I can't put their stuff out there.
We get it.
But they have some very specific things that they have in mind for the summertime. We're also doing our homeless outreaches, which we're going to kick back up. We enjoy that maybe the most because we enjoy going under the bridges, and the homeless brothers and sisters and blessing them. We did that. We came back from our Florida outreach about 2 years ago and went straight under the bridges when we got back. And that was probably one of the biggest blessings. And so we want to do it again. The concern was just trying to figure out how do we do that safely during COVID season. And so we've thought about how to do it. The young people, they're like, we're just ready. And so we're ready to roll that out within the next couple of weeks to make sure we're getting back into the District of Columbia and doing what we can. Just recently, we did a toiletries packing outreach for a men's shelter that's in Rockville. So we packed, I don't know, maybe it was like 80 or 100 toiletry care packages.
Wow. That's great. So I like to hear that the young people are generating these ideas. They're not just participating, but they're actually bringing ideas to the table. And the good part is that you're listening and facilitating these requests. I think that's a big part of it.
Right. So for me, it's like this. We will give you a basic foundation of outreach. And then each ministry in the youth division should then say to themselves, what is our departmental outreach? So the youth division will plan an outreach, but then what are the ones you do in your silos? What are the ones you do in your division? And so our youth fellowship, which was our Friday night gathering for preteens and teens, they've come up with a couple ideas that we're looking forward to executing. And so that really encouraged me that they're thinking, they're learning, and they're loving outreach and coming up with their own ideas, of which we're happy to foster, help them carry out, help them flesh it out, and pay for.
That's a big one.
I am very happy to help people release God's money for God's things.
Hey, that's what it's about. And I like the fact too that this is something that if people get in their systems, if young people get outreach and focus on the community in their systems early, it kind of becomes a part of who they are. So when they go on to go to college and adulthood, these are the opportunities that they're going to look for. So I think it's so important, so crucial that you guys are facilitating ways for young people to be involved in this, to make it part of their livelihoods and part of who they are as Christians. I think that's an important part of their development. So this is awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I wanted to put up the flyer again because I'm assuming that all of the outreach activities, even the ones that you guys are currently planning, they can find out about them at that website there, metrosda.org/outreach.
You can. That is a link to sign up for outreaches, but as long as we have your name and contact information, we can let you know whatever's happening.
Oh, perfect. Love that. I love that. Now with the summer coming, some parents are looking for things for their children to do that are productive. And so this is a great opportunity.
Got it.
Awesome job. Thank you so much, Pastor Smith, for coming and sharing this. And just like the Luncombs inspired you with what you saw them doing, we're hoping that those who are watching out there will be inspired by what you guys are doing there at Metro. Absolutely. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a friend, Pastor Felipe Soares in, I think, Michigan, and his church has done a caravan outreach as well. And so the idea is the more we can share what's being done, may it serve as an encouragement to any church, whether your church is 20 members, 200 or 2,000, you can do it because it doesn't take much but a small gift, love, and just a few people just to go out and say, we're here for you. We remember you.
Right.
Which is some of the comments that come back was, thank you for remembering. Thank you.
Wow. And that's the thing. Some people don't even realize how much they miss people until they see people they haven't seen in a while, or they get to have that human interaction that they don't get on a daily basis. So this is This is really awesome. Thanks again so much for sharing this, and we pray for Metro and future outreach opportunities that you'll provide and be a part of. Thanks so much for all you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, we'll be right back after this break.
I will make you a great nation. God said it to Abram. So we see the Bible literally says in Exodus 1 verses 1 to 7, they became a great nation. They were fruitful. They increased abundantly. They multiplied. They waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Boom. I see you, God. You did it, God. Exceedingly great. Multiplied, right? But part 3 of the fulfillment is fulfillment with affliction. And we all know what happened to them when they were in Egypt. Now, Exodus chapter 1, verses 8 to 11, and then 12 to 21, we see the affliction started. Verses 8 to 11. The affliction started. Again, the new Pharaoh came up. He was like, I don't know who these Israelites are. Whatever. I'm about to make them my servants, right? He made them their servants. So they went from being honored to being, all right, we about to be slaves. But the fulfillment of God's promise was still there. Circumstances, come on, family. Circumstances don't change God's promises. The Bible says in Exodus 1 verses 8 to 11 and 12 to 21, the more afflicted they were, the more they grew. God used the midwives to save the children. Hold up, family. Circumstances will never change God's promises. Now, again, they probably didn't like it. I'm sure they didn't. You guys are servants now, getting whipped, getting hit. But God still said, I'm going to bless Abram's seed. I'm going to multiply them. They're going to become a great nation, and the world is going to be blessed through them. So the fact that the devil impressed upon the new Pharaoh's heart, I need you to turn these jokers into servants, that does not affect God's promise. Because even in the midst of the affliction, them jokers were multiplying. The more they tried to attack them, the more they grew. When the Pharaoh was like, I'm going to kill the babies, the midwives was like, no, you don't, boo. And they did not kill the babies. So again, we know the whole thing with Moses and that part. We're not getting into that story. Just from this part, we see in affliction, God's promises do not become obsolete.
Welcome back, everyone, to AEC Today Reports. We've moved on to our final segment of today, and that is Fitness with Faye. You already know. Faye is going to share with us, as she always does, some exciting ways that we can be healthier people. Right, Faye? How are you?
Oh, wonderful, Latasha. How are you? Hello.
Doing well.
Glad to hear it. Hey, viewers.
This time each week is probably the most healthiest time of the day for me, when I get to have my fitness segments. I'm moving when I see you. We do the exercises, so this is awesome. So like I said, the weather's really nice. It's been really nice outside. And, when that happens, we tend to spend more time outside. And this is actually a great opportunity for us to do what, Faye? What do you have to share with us today?
Well, Latasha and viewers, this is the 5th month of the year. We're in May 2021, and it's time for us to take responsibility of our health, if we haven't already. Happy Triumphant Thursday, viewers.
Yay.
Let us claim the promises of God, renew our strength, walk and talk of his goodness, and enjoy the beauty of God's creation this spring. What do you say?
It sounds like a plan to me. And the weather is helping us do that. I feel, at least. It's encouraging me to be out there and appreciate God's nature and all of that good stuff. So how can we use that to promote healthier living in terms of our bodies?
Well, as you said, Latasha, now we have the opportunity to go outdoors and breathe in the fresh air of his spirit and release our anxiety. Take a breath, inhale with me. Hold, and then exhale through your nostrils. Now this time we're going to take an inhale in and hold it for a 2 count. Inhale in. 1, 2, hold for 2. 1, 2. Now exhale. Doesn't that feel good?
It does.
Now, if you have your bands, grab your bands with me. Let's stretch out in faith. Okay?
Okay.
So we're stretching out in faith. There we go. And as we stretch our bodies, and we can strengthen our core of faith. And this is where we grab our hand weights.
Okay.
We're going to be utilizing our hand weights. And remember, viewers, you can improvise with things you have around the house. Okay? Plan your activities, and your plan should include a partner as well. Okay? Now remember, Peter had Andrew, Ruth had Naomi, Paul had Silas, and I have Latasha.
Yay, I love that.
Next week, we are really looking forward to our outdoor exercising. So make sure you have your lightly weighted hand weights to participate with us and band. We have a wonderful program set for you this month, wonderful programs of outdoor activities where I'm going to be taking you on walks along with my partner, Latasha, and I'm going to be giving you some demonstrations, some interval training with your lightly weighted hand weight, no more than 3 pounds, and your exercise bands. So if you don't have those at home, improvise. Grab water bottles if necessary, or cans of food. Well, that's what we have planned.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely one of those people that benefit from working out with someone else. One, I love the fellowship, but also it's nice to be healthy and have someone there with you, kind of motivating you to keep going. So I'm looking forward to it.
Great, great. I mean, it's just so beautiful. You know, everything's blossoming everywhere. You can walk around and smell the scents in the air and get your vitamin D, which is necessary for us to function. And also light therapy. We need sunlight. Those of you who are inside that don't choose to go outside, open up your windows. Let that fresh air in. Open up the blinds, curtains. Let the sun shine in. Sit in the sun for a little bit to get that vitamin D in. You'll feel better.
Absolutely. I can almost feel my mood change when the sun comes out, or the sun comes out. Even on a dreary day, just that change of scenery seems to have an impact on my mood. So now that the weather is nice, it's not too hot. It hasn't gotten hot yet. It's getting warm. This is a perfect time to take advantage of it. So I'm happy that we're going to be able to show some of the exercises that you can do outside that probably don't even feel like exercise sometimes because you're enjoying your surroundings so much. So
exactly. And I like to make fitness fun, Latasha.
Sure.
We're going to have a good time together and show our viewers that they can have a good time exercising. You know, some people think that exercise is painful, you know, that they're going to hurt or feel bad. But it's good to feel, and you want to move those muscles that have been laying dormant for a long time and get your blood circulating and the oxygen circulating in your blood.
That's right. Like I always say, half the battle is just getting up to do it. But once you start, your body kicks in and actually loves it and enjoys it and wants to do more of it. So
those endorphins kick in. I know some of our viewers may feel a little hesitant or reluctant to move, or you may not have had the opportunity to check out our videos that we have in the library, the Fitness with Faye, Cardio Blast, strength training, and so on and so forth. But we're getting ready to do a new round of videos for you. But we just released a video a couple of weeks ago entitled Fitness with Faye Silver Stars. And that particular video is targeted for our older adults. Okay, older adults, 40 and above.
Oh,
so check it out. Yeah,
I'm in that category.
Very low impact.
Okay,
and enjoyable.
Okay, older adult category. Thanks, Faye. That made me feel
You're gorgeous, Latasha.
That's
We're
right.
older and wiser. I'm in that category as well.
All right. Well, sounds good. Make sure you check that out. All those videos, as Faye mentioned, are on our website. You'll see the block that says Fitness with Faye, and the playlist should be there for you to be able to check out all of those videos. We're really excited about what's been done, but also what's coming up. And so stay tuned next week where you'll be able to walk with us, and we'll also add that to the playlist so that it's something that you can do time and time again. Take us with you on your phone as you're walking outside or doing other activities. So that's great. Thank you, Faye. What does your shirt say? We can't go without seeing that.
It says, being happy never goes out of style.
That's right. Being happy never goes out of style. I like that.
Style.
We need to be reminded of that. And exercise can help in that. So,
exactly. Exercise is not an option. It should be a part of your lifestyle. Make it a part of your lifestyle.
So true.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone. And we just like to know if you're watching, you've been following this segment, and you've gotten your bands and your weights. Let us know. Feel free to put it in the chat or email me. We kind of want to see who's working out with us at home. Mm-hmm. And who knows, we may call you in one day to work out with us. And so it's good.
We'll share the screen with you.
That's right. We will. All right, Faye. Thank you so much. It's been great.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome, Latasha. Okay, everyone, stay healthy and fit. Until next week, God bless you all. Keep on keeping on.
That's right. All right, everyone. Be healthy. We'll be right back after this break.
Hey, let's check out this park. Wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
All right, everybody, that wraps up tonight's program. We hope you enjoyed the information that was shared. And of course, we're going into a very special weekend. Mother's Day. We love moms. I know I love my mom. Special shout out to Sally Betts. I love you always and forever. Thank you, mothers, for all that you do. We celebrate you and honor you this Sunday coming. But also this week, we also honored a wonderful group of people. Our educators, our teachers. Thank you. Thank you. I know mothers are thanking teachers for all that you have done and poured into our children on a daily basis. We are forever grateful for the impressions that you are making on them and their lives. Thank you for what you do. If you never hear another thank you, please receive it from us at the AEC family. All right, as we close, don't forget to check out our video of the week, which comes to us from Dr. Stoddart from Church of the Oranges. And don't forget, as always, to check out our website, visit aec.org, for all of the information we want to share about what's happening in your conference. All right, everyone, we'll see you next week. Please be safe.
I'm so glad that God is a God of mercy. Y'all didn't hear me today. I'm so glad that God is a God of mercy. I've been preaching on this theme, grace in the Old Testament, because most of the times when we look at the Old Testament, we see the judgment and the justice of God, but we really focus on the mercy and the grace of God. And when I see the Old Testament and see how patient God is with hard-headed people, I know that God is a God of mercy. Somebody ought to say amen out there. And so this constant refrain, the people rebelled, God withdraws protection, they were oppressed by their enemies, they cried unto God, God heard their cry. The first thing in Judges is that these people rebelled. They forsook God. They did not remember what he did. And I'm sorry, But sometimes, even in the church, even in our families, we forget what God has done. And many times, what creates worry and stress and fear is that we forget that it was God that kept you in the first place. It is God that protected you in the first place. It's God that carried you in the first place. It's God that helped you when you couldn't help yourself in the first place. And don't you ever forget that every good that ever came to your life is because of the mercy and the grace of Almighty God. For it had not been for the Lord on my side, I don't know where I'd be. Somebody ought to say amen out there.